What's up, everybody? It's Frank from Fam Sports New York, and for this video we're going to be talking about the Frank's Finest for Section 1AA, and football season is right upon us. I want to welcome you to the video. If you're new here, we're going to be talking about our top players in Section 1AA, about 11 to 12 players on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and including a special teamer, whether it's kicker, punter, or returner, that we want to give recognition to. And how this works is I really look at multiple things when I'm picking these players. Film is the biggest one to me, and then a mixture of stats and coaches' input, and you get all that information together and to put out this list. And these student athletes deserve to be recognized. And at the end of the day, this is my opinion. Again, if we disagree, that's completely fine. You can let me know why you disagree or who should be considered, but this is, in my opinion, the top players in this class. And before we dive further into the video, I do want to kind of announce our Patreon benefits this year. We really do appreciate all our supporters here, whether you're a Patreon member or not. But think about joining our Patreon. It helps support the group, and you get added benefits like our weekly recaps, which are going to start at the end of week 1, not week 0, but week 1, as well as, depending on what tier you choose, you can get access to our personal Discord, where we can talk football and stuff like that. And the last thing is getting our weekly ratings, whether it's O-line rankings or team rankings per class. But let's start diving into the video for Section 1AA, and at the quarterback spot is the number one spot that we're going to talk about, and a lot of interesting candidates, but to me there was two players who really separated themselves for final consideration at the quarterback spot for Frank's Finest for 1AA, and that's Mike Rescigno of Arlington and Brady Feliciano of John Jay East Fishkill. And looking at both of these, it was really difficult to make the decision between the two. Both very important players for their supposed teams. And I tell you what, going through all the tape, through the stats, a lot of similarities between the two. But at the end of the day, I did have to go with Brady Feliciano of John Jay East Fishkill as Frank's Finest quarterback this year. Over 70% completion percentage, over 1,000 yards passing. He also rushed for 963 yards and 21 touchdowns. I mean, this young man really was carrying the team, carrying this offense on his back, both with his arm and his legs, and he runs like a running back. And to me, I thought his accuracy improved from the year prior. I mean, from the beginning of the season towards the end of the season, he does a really good job of rolling out, play action, and I'm anticipating getting another year comfortable in the system to have another jump. This was a really difficult decision, but Frank's Finest quarterback, Brady Feliciano of John Jay East Fishkill. For this video, we're going to be breaking down number 9 quarterback Brady Feliciano, class of 2024 of John Jay East Fishkill High School in New York, highlighted on the screen. Now, before we dive into the breakdown, I do want to remind you, if you could please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this content. It really does help the channel, and I also want to publicly thank our Patreon and those that have donated to our group. Now, diving into the breakdown, I gotta say this young man really helped carry this offense. Solid size and build to him at 6 foot, 190 pounds. He had, 27 total touchdowns last year, over 2,000 total yards. And he completed about 70% of his passes. So this was a very efficient quarterback, dual threat guy, good athlete, really excels off of play action, designed rollouts, sprint outs, where I've seen some of his best decisions and tight window throws, especially on the intermediate and deep routes. He doesn't have a huge arm, but he makes up for it with his athleticism as a runner. Man, he can run with some strength in between the tackles, and he has that breakaway speed to hit big chunk plays, which are always important. Things he can work on. I do think he needs to continue to grow as a pocket passer with his reads, with the quick game accuracy. Sometimes it feels like he's rushing his reads a little bit. He'll bail out of the pocket a little bit too soon, but a lot to like from this young man. And let's start. I mentioned about in the pocket plays. Let's just talk about one of them. This is trips. He's in the middle of the field. They're going to fake a screen to the wide receiver on the outside. These two guys are going to be faking, blocking, going deep. And we're going to see his ability again to hike, set a base, and throw, right? And you can see he's trying to shuffle a little bit. He does have a pretty quick release, and when he launches this out, this is a 35 air yard type of throw right here. Hits him in stride, good timing on the route, puts it out in front of the receiver where he doesn't have to stop for the ball. So this is, again, good timing, gets it where it needs to be, right? Again, not having the strongest arm, but again, he's not waiting for him to get open. He sees the open space to the outside, he's going to deliver it. And when you have good timing, you can make these kind of throws. Really strong throw, put it out in stride for a big chunk play. Let's go to another play. I mean, this is when he's at his best. I mentioned it. Design rollouts, play action, design sprint outs. And it's because you're using that athleticism. And he's going to be here, right? He's going to try to roll out towards the right, but I like the design of this play. You're going to have a deep drag across the middle. You're going to see these routes kind of going towards the wide side of the field, but they're going to sneak a throwback with this tight end. He's going to block and sneak to the corner of the end zone on the opposite side. And that's where they want to go with the ball. Now, this is obviously a long, drawn-out play, so you need protection, and the quarterback needs to buy himself some time. And with this athleticism, he sure can do that, right? There's the rollout right here. Now look at him. You can see it's starting to become open, but he needs a little bit more time, but the pressure's coming on. This is the athleticism that he can maneuver the pocket, set his feet, and make a throw. And I like this. Look at him falling back. He can't really step into it with the pressure in his face, but he shows enough of that arm strength right there. Boom, right? That's a 30-yard touchdown. Pretty throw falling backwards. A nice design and the ability to buy some time and make the throw over the top. Here's another example, right? This is going to be a design sprint out again. This is when he's at his best. You're going to see the route combination, a stop. You're going to do a corner. You're going to do a deep out. He's getting out on the edge where he puts a lot of pressure under defense, not just to defend the routes that way, but to defend the run, his ability to break outside the pocket. And you see this defender, he's going out to the flat, so this is where he's got to make this read right here between those two guys, the safety and the corner. You can see a little bit of confusion right here. Corner's going to sit. There's nobody on the deep outside third now. That's where it's going to open up. He reads it correctly, can attack in that line of scrimmage, and then look at the mustard he puts on that, right? Really drives the ball there, and that's what I love about him on that play action. He can drive that football. Really nice throw. Let's watch it again. Again, the sprint out. Delivers a real nice strike right there. Beautiful throw. Now, let's go to the next play. I mentioned again, really strong athlete. I think he had over, 20 rushing touchdowns. He was a huge part of this run game. And for good reason why. He has the strength. He shows it, 190 pounds, well built. He can run in between the tackles, run through arm tackles, and he has that breakaway speed. And here's an example of it. Right, you can see tight formations. He's pretty much like another running back in the backfield. They're going to fake a sweep this way, run the counter back, and he does a good job setting up blockers, and you're going to see the speed, right? Look at him. Really good job of sealing right here. Now he's going to set up this blocker. He stays right on his hip. The defender chooses. He over pursues. Going to leave this lane, and now hit the burners right here. Boom. Puts his foot in the dirt, explodes. And those are that big chunk plays right there. So you can see that dual athlete. Somebody can get out on the edge, make some throws off of play action, on the design sprint outs, and he damn sure can do this, which is running the football. And there's the fake right there. Look at the counter. Sets up the blocker really well. Good job blocking and sealing that off by the rest of the team. Puts his foot in the dirt, boom, gets north and south real quick. And this is what you like to see, that closing speed to not only just hit a big 20-yard run, but to finish that touchdown. An exciting football player, a lot put on his plate, but this is a guy who can really carry the load offensively for his team, and I'm excited to see the growth heading into next season. Now let's go to the skill position. This is running back, wide receivers, what I call athletes, which could be a mix of multiple players or tight ends. And we're going to bounce around between the different players, but the first one up, another Frank's Finest on the list, is Raiden Davis, running back of New Rochelle High School. This senior, about 5'10", 170 pounds, is a 4'6", maybe sub 4'6" player. He rushed for over 1,000 yards last season, 12 touchdowns, and this is explosive. He's an explosive player, really succeeded on kind of these one-cut runs where he can just go. And I know he's not a very big guy, but he ran hard at times and ran through contact. Really important player in the rushing game. Impressive kid, deserves a spot on this list. Next up, I'm going to call him an athlete. This is got a mixture of a running back, wide receiver. James Davenport, the senior of Arlington High School. This young man, 6'1", 185 pounds. He can play in the slot. He played on the outside at wide receiver. He can also run the ball as a running back. This is a good athlete and another explosive player in open field. Kind of a jack of all trades, but what I like is the toughness that he plays with. He deserves a spot on Frank's Finest list. The next one up, wide receiver, Corey Dawson, the senior from New Rochelle High School. This young man, 5'10", 170 pounds. Not a huge guy, but boy, is he explosive. He broke 2 school records in receptions. He had over 1,000 yards receiving as well, which was a school record. He can play in the slot, where I do think he's really deadly, and also on the outside, where he had a lot of success. So this is a young man who can really take off and really succeeded on a lot of deep concepts. But he shows the savviness and skill to also run solid routes underneath, right? Not on the deep end of the field. So Corey Dawson is on this list as well. The next guy, another wide receiver, Angel Aquino, the senior from Yonkers Forest. This young man, he's about 5'10", 5'11". It's like a $140, but lightning fast. I mean, he absolutely devastated teams on deep concepts, on deep routes. He can take a top off of defense, and I think a big indicator on, someone being considered on this list as an offensive weapon is, as a defensive coordinator, you have to game plan against that person. And everyone who played Yonkers Forest last year had to game plan against this young man, and he deserves a spot on this list. Another wide receiver up, wide receiver Damian Santiago of Carmel High School, the senior. And this is a big, strong target, large catch radius, and at times they were just throwing it up to him one-on-one last year, and he was coming down with it. He's a matchup nightmare for smaller corners, and he also shows that he has some of that straight line speed, that he can win on these deep routes and make big-time plays. He ended up being a pretty well-rounded wide receiver and one of the more dominant receivers in the class, and he gets on the list for Frank's Finest. Finally, to round it all up in the skill position, running back, Gamey Savor, the senior of North Rockland High School. This young man, 5'10", 180 pounds, one of the fastest backs in the section. This kid's running close to that 4.4. But what I like the most about him is he's gotten stronger, and he showed a lot more improvement on being balanced, running through contact. And we know that he can run by people, but he also showed that he can make people miss in tight quarters. He was a well-rounded running back, and he's going to round it off on the list. And I like to show some Frank's Film Room about Gamey, the running back, on what makes him so unique. For this video, we're going to be doing a breakdown on number 2 running back and cornerback, Gamey Savor, class of 2024 of North Rockland High School, highlighted on the screen. And before we dive further into this breakdown, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe for future content. And if you want to support the channel going further, consider joining our Patreon or using the donation links in the description of this video. Now, heading into this video and speaking about this young running back, this young man listed about 5'10", 180 pounds, and this is not my first video on him. And what hasn't changed is his speed and explosiveness from the previous season, even going into this season that just passed. And when he gets to the second level of a defense, there is maybe a count on one hand amount of people who can catch him, if that. He is one of the fastest backs in the section. But what he has improved on the most from what I watched the last time covering him to this time is his balance and his ability to run through contact. I think he's gotten stronger. He bounces off of guys now and runs through contact this time instead of just around it. And it's been very impressive to watch, and he is a big play waiting to happen. Now, things he can work on, I do think blocking is something he can be more consistent on, and I'd love to see him be more involved in the passing game as a receiver, because I do think he has that in him. But let's go over a couple plays I like. Mention he's highlighted right there on the screen, and you're going to see the explosiveness. They're going to have a motion behind the back. You're going to see they'll be pulling a lineman around. You're going to see some nice angle blocks right here. Try to get this linebacker who's going to be flying up the field. And if you don't catch him early, and you learn this, I like how he keeps this nice and tight on the run here. If you don't catch him early and gets to that second level, again, big play waiting to happen. Linebacker running up the field here, which gives this guy enough of an angle to seal him off. And it's important that he kept this tight. If it gets wide, linebacker probably makes a play. He keeps it tight to help set up that block. And once that block happens, he gets to the second level. Good job of moving the line of scrimmage right here by the tackle. And this is bad news. When he has this kind of space, this is bad news for a defense. And this is why, right? It's very smooth. It doesn't look like he's moving, but look at how fast he is compared to everybody else on the field. It looks like they're running in cement, right? And that just shows the speed and explosiveness that this young man has. And that's why getting to him early is very important for a defense. But I like how he keeps it tight, and once it gets to the second level, there's not many who are going to catch him, right? He is absolutely explosive. And again, leads to these long touchdowns. Let's go to another play. Here he is highlighted right here. And there's another well-designed play. You have this H-back who is really important for their offense. He's actually going to flare out to the flats, and he's going to be running, take a couple steps this way, and counter back with these linemen pulling. And again, nice little setup right here. You're going to see this defender does a good job. He undercuts this block and actually has a chance to make this play. But this is the improvement I'm talking about. His balance, the ability to run through contact. Right, look at him run through that contact right there. The defender had him pretty squared away. And again, once he gets to that second level, bad news for a defense. And I like this. Again, you're seeing the strength, you're seeing the balance, his ability to run through contact has improved. Coming back from the top. Taking those steps out there. Defender undercuts this, has a chance right there, but showing that strength. And then this is the explosiveness. Creating a big chunk play. Here's another play, again located right here. And again, just showing that improvement in the balance right here. He's going to run up the gut of up the butt of the center, and he's going to bend it. You're going to see this H-back going to take a couple steps and come this way, lineman pulling. And cuts to the outside, gets that second level. You can see the defender is screaming over the top, trying to make a play here. But again, using that speed, and there's that balance, right? A dynamic running back. Again, just very explosive, naturally explosive, right? You can see he gets to the edge really quickly, but the balance and the strength is something that was impressive to watch. Let's go to the final play. Again, you're seeing different angles right here. And you're going to see, again, pulling a lineman, H-back leading the way. Again, look at that explosion to get to that second level. Right, he really explodes, getting that 5 to 6 yard gain. And now, again, in the second level here, you could see he could juke people now and he can use strength, which really creates a really tough position for these DBs. It looks like he's going out of bounds, but again, the ability to turn the corner and the strength to extend plays even more is an improvement. Again, making him more dynamic. Solid blocking up there, and then again, look at the strength there on that stiff arm, turning the corner with his speed, staying in bounds, creating another touchdown. Again, an impressive, explosive running back. Excited to see his growth heading into this season. All right, guys, now we're going to be moving on to the offensive line in 1AA. And again, all these positions are tough. There's a lot of good players. Tough to make this list. And on the offensive line, let's start off with an internal offensive lineman, Keisai Francois, class of 2025 of Mount Vernon High School. This is a big boy up front, 6'2", 290 pounds. And boy, I also like some of the nimbleness. He showed that he can pull a little bit, he can trap, he can get up to the second level, but where he thrives is moving bodies at the point of attack. And Mount Vernon had a very strong year last year, especially running the football. And the big men up front are a reason why, and their ability to move players at the point of attack. He made the list, and I'm excited to see, kind of his future at the position. Next up, might be a little bit surprised. I'm going with Nick Lamagna, another internal offensive lineman, senior of Mamaroneck High School. And this is not a very big guy. He's about 5'11", 215, 220 pounds. But I spoke with Coach about him. He is a sturdy force. And when I watched him on tape as the season went along, I thought he improved, got better and better. And again, Mamaroneck had a lot of senior talent, a lot of offensive firepower. The offensive line was some of the younger. They had a couple seniors on there, but they had about 3 underclassmen. And he was a big, he was someone who was really important as the season went along, and he has some nastiness to him. I like his ability that he can move. I like the toughness that he brings on some traps and getting up to the second level. And I think he earned a spot on this list as the season went along, and by the end of the year, he was an important player on that offensive line. So Nick gets another slot there. Let's go to the next offensive lineman. And that's Ben Ryan, the senior of Suffern, getting onto the Frank's Finest list. This young man, 6 foot, 265 pounds. Again, not a super tall, but he's a big-bodied offensive lineman with a nasty streak to him. And in the run game, he's got some solid feet. He can do some reach blocking. He can do some down blocking. He can get up to that second level. And what I like the most is he improved on his finishing. So he was able to finish at a much higher level than the year prior. So he earned his way, multi-year player, multi-year starter on Suffern. He earns his spot on this list. Next up, Jaden Robles, offensive lineman for Carmel, and this is a strong man. And Carmel is one of the best rushing offenses in the whole entire section last year, and a lot has to do with the big men up front, and he's one of them. And he's a guy who can really move people at the point of attack. He has like these heavyweight boxer gloves where he can just stun people, and he knows how to drive the sled. Right, he gets his hands locked in, and he can really push people at the point of attack. He really mauled dudes in the running game. Jaden Robles of Carmel on the list. And to round it all off, on the offensive line, obviously this one's an obvious choice. Offensive tackle Colin Cubberly, the senior of Arlington High School. There's not much to say here. The commit to Wisconsin, this young man's 6'6", 300 pounds. He's probably one of the most well-rounded offensive linemen in the entire section, probably in the state. And I love his versatility. He shows he can play offensive tackle, he can play offensive guard. They line him up in the backfield at times as a pull blocker. And he always had good feet. Even when he was young, he was able to move around pretty well, get up to the second level. But what he improved on is getting stronger, and he really knows how to finish. And one of the more polished pass pro guys in this league. And with that, before we move on to defense, I do want to show a Frank's film room of Colin and what makes him so unique. For this video, we're going to be breaking down number 78, offensive tackle, offensive guard, and defensive tackle, Colin Cubberly. Class of 2024 of Arlington High School highlighted on the screen. But before we dive further into the video, if you like this kind of content, please give a thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. If you're considering helping our group even further, think about joining our Patreon for added benefits or using the donation links below. And back to the video on Colin, this young man is kind of the prototype on what you're looking for at the college level. 6'6", 305 pounds. And this isn't my first video on him, and when you watch him over the years, you've really seen him grow into a very well-rounded offensive lineman. And he's shown the versatility to play offensive tackle and guard, and even put him in the backfield as an H-back at times. And to me, his biggest growth has been his strength and his ability to finish blocks. As a run blocker, his ability to pull, drive defenders, get to the second level, and I mentioned that improved job of finishing off the defender has really been great watching over the years. I've been really impressed. In pass pro is probably where he could be the most impressive. He's one of the more polished ones in Section 1. He does a good job of getting depth in his drops. He does a good job with his hand placement in pass pro and shadowing defenders. Now, things he can work on, there are no perfect prospects. I do think that sometimes in the run game, his hand placement can get a little bit wide, which might not be called in high school, but at the college level, at times could be called for holding. So those are some things, but let's go over a couple plays I like. And this first one, you see him highlighted right here. Kind of his ability to down block and get to the second level. So he's really responsible for this hole right here. So anyone who steps in this hole, he's going to block, and he's really looking down to the second level at this backside linebacker. And you're going to see that strength that I'm talking about. He steps down, he sees the defender, he fills the hole. He's going to use his strength to drive him out of the point of attack and make his way to that second defender. First of all, just blows that defender out of the way. He got his head up, eyes up, finds that second defender, and then he blasts him. And he really just creates this crater here for this running back. You get a seal here now, and this is a giant hole created for the running back. Just really impressive work when you focus in on him, his ability to move people using his strength and size. First point at the point of attack at the first level, there's the strength. Good bend right there. He's not standing straight up. He uses his strength right there, keeping his head up, buries the linebacker, and just creates this giant gaping hole for his running back. Really impressive rep. Let's go to the second one. And here he is again. You're going to see a similar type of play. Double team up to the backside backer. They're running behind him here. And again, the first important thing in a double team block is to get movement at the point of attack. And you can see big shot right there. Move that initial defender at the point of attack. But look, keeping his eyes up. He's looking for that second level defender. He knows he's got to get up to that second level. And there he does. He's moving his feet. Shadow him, seals off this defender right here. And again, strong rep of pretty much that double team block to the second level. Let's watch it again. The initial block, really important. Move that defender off at the point of attack. Keeping your head up. Get to that second level. Move your feet. Seal off that defender. And there's that running back flying to the second level. Let's watch it one more time. Again, Really like the initial shot right there, and I like that he keeps his head up. So important when you do these double teams to the second level to not bury your head. And he shows a really good job here, showing that strength. And you can just see the size. Let's go to another play, and I mentioned he showed reps at guard. He's even shown reps to be in the backfield, kind of like this H-back, and it's kind of simulating him pulling, getting different angles on how to block people. But he shows the versatility and the footwork that he can do that. And you're just going to see again. This is just a direct snap, quarterback running, looking for open holes here. And you're going to see the strength and, again, his ability to move his body and just bury defenders right here. Defensive tackle does a good job getting an inside move here. But unfortunately, he's in the pathway of Colin, who really knows how to deliver a strike and absolutely just blows up that defender right here. Quarterback cuts to the backside with his gaping hole. And you can see, again, the footwork moves well on his feet and the strength, obviously, to finish off a defender. And just really buries him right there. The last play I want to show is the pass pro. And again, he's very polished. He's one of the more polished ones in Section 1 that I saw on tape. And I think it's so important for offensive tackles to be polished in pass pro. You don't see enough of this. But this is a good job. Look at again. He does a really good job. Too many times you see offensive linemen, they just get too wide, right? They just go sideways. They don't get depth as they get wide. And you can see this is pretty good steps right here by Colin. And now he's in good position. He's well balanced right here to handle a move by the defender. And now you're just going to see the strong hand, right? He gauges him, strong base right here, and he's just going to shadow move at his feet, and then the strength at the end to finish off the defender. Okay, let's start at the top. Watch how fast those steps are. Quick steps right there, getting depth as well as getting wide. Pretty balanced here, and this is a pretty good ISO shot of some of the footwork. Let's just watch it one last time. Shadowing him. Really nice rep right there. And again, it's been really interesting watching him grow over these last couple of years. I'm excited to see his last season on what he can bring to the table. All right, guys, let's go to defense now. And again, I'm a big defensive guy, so I love talking defense. And we're going to start on the defensive line here. And first up, defensive tackle Joel Herrera, the senior of North Rockland High School, gets his way on this list. He's a transfer from Albertus Magnus, 6'2", 240 pounds, and when I watched him on tape last year, he was very disruptive in the run game. He's strong. He's got a solid, explosive start to him that can really hurt some of the slow-footed internal offensive linemen. Now, I do think he can work on his pad level, but this is an impressive young man. It's going to be huge for this North Rockland defense and offense on both sides of the front. And I thought he had an impressive year last year, especially in the run game, and I think he earned a shot and a spot on Frank's Finest list. The next up, defensive end Joe McGann of Arlington is next defensive lineman up. This young man, 6'5", 250 pounds, and by the way, offensively, he's a devastating blocker at the tight end spot, really like an addition on the offensive line, but on defensively, he's got such good size and length to him, and he really can swallow up blockers with his long arms. He can control them, disengage them, and because of his length, especially on the short side of the field, it's hard to run around him. So again, with backs and tight ends blocking him is a bit of a struggle, but he also shows some of the agility that he can make plays on reads, even when he closes and readjusts. He shows some lateral quickness that is impressive, just consistency for him, but the talent is really impressive and it's really there, and he's earned his way on this list. Next up at the defensive tackle spot, Liam Forrester, senior from Carmel High School. This is another mountain of a man at 6'4", 260 pounds. This is a guy with, again, those heavyweight, I call them heavyweight boxer hands, where he just can jolt you and really stun offensive blockers. I mean, he's got powerful hands here, and I think he's at his best in the drive technique when he's kind of shooting the gaps, trying to get penetration. He moves pretty well for a man of his size. He generates a lot of pressure on you, especially in the run game when he's shooting gaps. And this is a guy, he can light you up. He can really, really put a pounding on you. He squares you up. He can really devastate you, and there's some impressive reps that I saw from him on tape, and he earned himself on this list, one of the best D tackles in the class. Finally, to round it all up on the defensive line, we're going to talk about defensive end / edge rusher Aiden Moore, the junior from Ossining High School. This young man's 6'1", 210 pounds, hybrid, kind of like that defensive end outside linebacker, but probably one of the best pass rushers in the class. He's got a really solid stance, really good start, and he knows how to attack the football, causing some turnovers and getting to the quarterback. Not a lot of people know about him, but he was impressive what I saw on tape, and he's earned his spot on this list. And now before we go to the back end of the defense, I wanted to show a Frank's film room on Aiden and what makes him unique. For this video, we're going to be breaking down number 59, defensive end and fullback Aiden Moore, class of 2025 of Ossining High School, highlighted on the screen. But before we dive further into the video, if you like this kind of content, please give a thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. And if you think about helping the group even further, think about joining our Patreon and using donation links below. And now back to Aiden. This young man, 6'1", 210 pounds, not a huge guy, but another very disruptive hybrid defensive end / outside linebacker who has good stance, good start, and lateral quickness. And in the run game, he really wins chasing plays down using that lateral quickness. And as a pass rusher, I got to say, I think he's one of the more well-rounded pass rushers that I watched on tape. I've seen a rip move, a kind of a push and pull, speed rush. So he's been very impressive as a pass rusher. Now, things he can work on, continuing to build up his strength at the point of attack. And another thing is consistency, right? Being a more consistent overall player. So let's dive into a couple plays that I really like. He's highlighted right here. Also, I think he has a solid stance right here. And you can see some of his pass rushing prowess. He's going to make an outside move and then cut inside that offensive lineman. And you're going to see some of that skill right here. First off, really good job outside to open up his hips and then cross his face. And the running back tries to help him. So he uses his speed, and now you're going to see some of that power. Go right through the running back, get the sack, force the fumble. Again, this is a really strong pass rushing rep. When you get these hybrid 3-4 outside linebackers, you got to be able to rush the passer and defend the run, right? So you're seeing some of the pass rushing ability right here, going outside, then inside, and then now through the running back, and then attacking the football at the end. So let's just watch again. Good start, gets the offensive lineman off balance, runs right through it, forcing that fumble. Really, really strong rep. Let's go to another one. And again, this is going to see one of his moves here. So before he did a kind of an outside-inside move. This time you're going to see kind of a push-pull move right here. Watch how quick on this pass rush. Hey, look, boom. Push-pull, rip that arm through. Offensive lineman now onto the ground. And now look at him attack the ball. Boom, attacks the football, forces the INT. So not only are you getting that sack, but they're attacking the football, forcing turnovers right here. Look at a really nice move. They'll rip that arm through. And really impressive. Look at him. Look at the leverage he starts off with on that start. Powerful, violent hands. Again, getting good pass rushers is so important in today's game. Really, really good stuff. Let's go to another play. Here he is right here, and the big thing again is how does he handle the point of attack? When he's got to go east and west, whether it's chasing, whether it's defending sweeps, he holds up pretty well. And you're going to see here they're going to get a down block, you're going to get a couple linemen pulling, the quarterback's going to fake it to the running back and keep it. Let's watch him. Right, he does a good job, he gets his hands on the tackle, would like it a little bit more, right? You really want to help your linebacker out. Don't just touch the tackle, you really want to engage the tackle. And again, look at him. Does a good job staying balanced, shoulders parallel. He's able to now make that move when the running back bounces to the outside, make that tackle in open field. Right, so these are really important. He touches the tackle. You want to see a little bit more engagement here, but look at the shoulders square. Right, squares up the running back, quarterback, him bouncing to the outside. It's good stuff. Let's watch one more time. Let's go to the final play. The big thing to me is how is he going to hold up when runs right at him, right? Not going east and west, but downhill runs. He does have powerful hands. Again, I'm always look at the leverage he's playing with here. They're going to try to run right at him. Tight end's going to try to kick him out. You're going to have a lineman pulling towards him. And I like this play again. Standing up a little bit high on this one, but you're going to see powerful hands here to disengage. Look at him. Inside move. Pushes that tight end off balance. And again, one-on-one opportunity in the hole to make that tackle. And he's successful there. And again, it starts with a good stance, good start. Let's see that powerful hands. Look at him push him inside. Strong move. One last time. Again, a very interesting prospect. Interested to see what he works on this offseason and the impact he makes this upcoming year. All right, guys, now we're going to do kind of the linebackers and defensive backs for 1AA. And this is going to be, again, mixture of linebackers and DBs. There's not going to be a specific order. Let's start off with a linebacker here. First one up on the list is Noah Crouch, the senior from John Jay's Fishkill, getting his way on the list. 5'10", 175 pounds. He is a missile. I mean, he knows how to read. He can read an offensive play. He reads it quickly, shoots the gap, takes pretty good angles, and he can get there in a hurry. And this is another guy who can really run. So he's that sideline-to-sideline type guy. He's also a pretty solid blitzer, so Noah gets his way on this list. Next up, kind of a mixture, outside linebacker, inside linebacker. Taylor Redd, senior of New Rochelle High School. This young man, 6'1", 200 pounds, over 100 tackles last year, and he is versatile. I mean, he's played inside linebacker, outside linebacker, defensive end, and he made plays at each level. I mean, he really does have a nose for the football and is a strong tackler and earned his way on this list. Next up, let's talk about a safety. Trevor Knopp, the senior of Scarsdale. This is not a very big guy, not a very well-recognized guy, but super active that I saw on tape. In the run game, he was really strong one-on-one tackler and open field tackler. Very active safety, and I tell you what, he plays like a linebacker at times. He can be an additional linebacker in the run game. He might be moved to linebacker, I'm not exactly sure, but at the safety spot, he also made some plays on the ball in pass coverage, so he was an impressive young man who earned his spot on this list. Next up, another linebacker, Finn Vanderstuff, the senior of John J. East Fishkill, gets his way on this list as well. 6 feet, 215 pounds. He's kind of that big-bodied thumper, Mike linebacker, force linebacker, however you want to call it. Strong blitzer as well. He had 4 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. Really knows how to attack the line of scrimmage, and he earned his way on this list. Let's talk about a defensive back, cornerback, Brady Snell, the senior of Suffern High School. Really strong man-to-man guy, solid athlete. I like the way that he can play some off-man and in zone, so he showed the versatility. He's one of the better man-to-man coverage guys in the class. This is a guy, a multi-year player and starter on the varsity. I'm impressed with what I saw on tape, and he earned his spot on this list. Another corner, Ethan Farrar, the senior of North Rockland. He makes his way on this list, 6 feet, 165 pounds, twitchy athlete who can play some corner or safety, and he made some big INTs for his unit last year where he can play off coverage and read kind of the wide receiver and the quarterback and make plays on the ball. But I also like he's active in the run game. Too many corners we see don't like to be aggressive and active in the run game. He can make some plays in the run game, and he did that out on the edge as a productive tackler. Let's go to his safety. Luke Lavello gets added to this list as the senior from Arlington High School at 6'1", 160 pounds. He plays some of that high safety defense or high safety role in the defense, and I thought he was pretty underrated last year. And this is someone who shows solid range to the football. He made a couple big plays in the passing game last year, but he also showed the ability that he can step into the box at times and play some man, and I do think that's really important for safeties to be able to do that. And he was also productive in the run game. This is a guy who can come up, make some tackles, be a plus tackler in open field, and you can see that on tape. He earned himself on this list. Finally, to round it all off, on defense, linebacker Matt Risley, the senior for Carmel, final entry and the back end of this defense. 5'10", 175 pounds, smooth athlete. He's that prototypical scrape linebacker or weak side linebacker where you get some big D linemen in front of him, allow him to maneuver in space. He finds good angles to the football and is a strong tackler for his defensive unit. And the big thing to me, he's the brain trust of this defense. Carmel's defense last year was number 1 defense in points allowed, and he is a big part of that, getting people in order. And he's the brain trust, smart football player, can diagnose things very well. Obviously, before we get to the kicker and punter, let's do a Frank's Film Room about Matt and what makes him unique. For this video, we're going to be breaking down number 26, linebacker and fullback Matt Risley, class of 2024 of Carmel High School, highlighted on the screen. But before we dive further into the video, if you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. If you're considering helping the group even further, think about joining our Patreon for added benefits or using donation links below. And back to Matt, this young man, 5'10", 175 pounds. He is a smooth athlete, very smart football player. He watches a lot of film, and he can diagnose plays and find proper angles to the ball really well. And this is a prototypical scrape linebacker, a will linebacker, where he can flow sideline to sideline, a solid tackler, and he really is the brain trust to what was a #1 defense last year. And what I also like about him is his versatility. He can bounce to the outside the box in nickel and dime packages and play some coverage, whether it's man or some zone. Now, things he can work on, I do think the biggest thing is hero ball. And that's kind of the definition of trying to do too much at times, and sometimes off-scripted plays, tend to create some frustration or flustering and just going back to your normal reads. But this is a very impressive football player, and let's go over a couple plays that I really liked. The first one is highlighted right here, and you can see what I really like is some of the details that he plays with, and this is an important one. When you're talking about stunting or blitzing, I'm not a big fan of linebackers showing right away what they're doing, right? I don't like it when they're changing either their stance or they're just showing up 2 inches from the line of scrimmage, which is giving prompts to the offense that a stunt or a blitz is coming. I like where it looks like you're a normal, just making your normal everyday reads. And Matt is going to be on a stunt right here, but you can't tell, right? He has his normal stance, but he's reading his flow keys to the line of scrimmage and he's attacking. He doesn't have any pass responsibility. And the only reason I know is because I know the scheme, right? But this is a really good prompt. He's not giving away that he's coming, right? So you can see he's going to be reading a flow read, and these linemen who are doing zone blocking, so it's not a very easy read just to stare at linemen, right? So he's going to be reading a flow read to the lineman, and you're going to see right away he flows so quickly it almost looks like he knew the play was coming, right? And that's just a good job of, again, he's on a run blitz or a stunt if you want to call it, and he's reading his flow read to the lineman and finding the proper angle. And that's doing that really quickly. And so this is what I really like. He's not showing that he's blitzing. He knows he's coming, and he knows he doesn't have any pass responsibility, that he can float to the ball and be very aggressive. And look at him come up one-on-one and make this tackle here. And again, you don't see it prompt, right? But you can see he's flowing right away. He's not taking any hesitation. He flows really quickly to the ball, in the hole, making the tackle. And again, these might not look like huge gasping plays, but this is a strong play in the hole, one-on-one, making this type of tackle. Let's go to another play. And again, playing in space, he's pretty good. He's a pretty solid athlete. So here he is again, linebacker. You allow him to run around, flow to the ball, keeping these big offensive linemen off him. You're going to make a lot of plays for you. And this is a direct snap. This is one of the best players in the state last year. Direct snap, attacking outside the tackle box, and be pulling a lineman, leading with the running back. And he diagnoses the play, he reads it, flows. Now you got to make a play one-on-one. And this is a really impressive tackle right here. In space, the ball carrier is bigger than him, but he comes, brings his hip, tackles really well on this one. It's an impressive play. Again, he is that off-ball linebacker that if you allow him to flow, he can make plays for you. One more time. Really strong tackle. Final play 2, again, I mentioned his ability to diagnose and read plays, and he does a lot of film, which is, I always love football players who do that. And this is just diagnosing plays. They're going to have trips here. The running back is on the opposite side, and they're going to try to throw underneath him, right? So the big thing they're looking at is to clear the linebackers, get everyone bailing out on these trips, and then throwing kind of an underneath route to the running back across the formation. And this is just diagnosing this play, right? You can see they're going to have a deep drag and get a bit of a curl here by number 3. And the big thing that he's looking at, right, they want to throw it to this guy. They're trying to shield this running back. He diagnoses and reads it very quickly, attacks it, makes another big play right here, just blows this play up. And again, really smart football player. Really does win with his brain, not just his athleticism, right? And again, he's such an important part of this defense. He's getting help get the defense organized, and he's going to have to do that again this upcoming year. All right, guys, to wrap up the video, we're going to show our kicker and punter. And the one Frank's Finest for the kicker and punter this year was another difficult one. Mike Rossigno from Arlington was a talented dude, and Zach Shepard from Mamaroneck. Both these guys vying. At the end of the day, I did go with Zach Shepard from Mamaroneck. This is a big kid with a strong leg, and I tell you what, he can put teams in bad field position, whether it's via kickoff or he can score points when drives stall. And this is a young man who's slated to have a very strong year as a kicker. I do think he earned it. This was another very tough, tight decision, but I went with Zach Shepard, the senior from Mamaroneck. And with that, guys, we are going to close out this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't done so yet, hit that thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. Until next time, this is Frank signing off.